The entire Wilmington delegation, I do mean the entire Wilmington delegation, led ably though by Senator Margaret Rose Henry, Senator Barbie Marshall, Senator Harris McDowell, Representative Helen Keeley, Representative Charles Potter, and Representative Stephanie Bolden. I cannot tell you how their efforts really drove this process. They were working on behalf of Wilmington City children, and I would argue on behalf of all low-income children throughout the state of Delaware. Thank you very, very much. We were also supported by a strong Wilmington City Council, represented ably by President Gregory and Councilman Chukwocha, the chair of their Education Committee, the mayor, and I would say most notably our governor, Jack Markell. Despite one's opinions of all the educational challenges that our governor has faced, I give him credit for not running away from any of them. No governor, and I repeat, no governor in recent history has attempted to tackle the concerns of low-income children and their families throughout the state of Delaware, with as much vigor, resolve, and expense of political capital than Jack Markell. Senator Henry said, so true, so true. I'd also like to thank the Red Clay executive teams, board, and community members for staying open-minded and allowing this new commission to make the case why this change is necessary and important. And I want everybody to listen to this because I've said it many times. The only way that all of this works is if Red Clay has a seat at the table as decisions are being made, is properly funded for taking on greater responsibility, and is given a reasonable timetable that we all agree on for implementing change. That is why I'm particularly pleased that the president of Red Clay School Board, Kenny Rivera, and longtime Red Clay parent and advocate Tizzy Lockman will serve as my vice chairs. Merv Doherty and his team, as well as Yvonne Johnson, will also be central to our efforts. And I think you all know you don't get anything done without involving the incomparable Yvonne Johnson. As for the other school districts operating in the city of Wilmington and the related charter schools, rest assured that you all will be involved and represented in this process. And to all, I would say only this. If each of us had a blank slate to reimagine the delivery of public education to the least advantaged throughout our state, none of us would design what we have today. This is our moment to make good on the promises that came from one family, Shirley Bulah's family, who wanted a better education for their daughter in this schoolhouse and enabled a nation to take a hard look in the mirror and not like what they saw staring back. I think that is still true today. My friends, let's not miss this moment. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning. I've been part of the Delaware General Assembly for the last 20 years, and I can tell you there have been many, many efforts to get to the day. I want to also signal out, Ray, because we did something in the early 90s related to trying to formulate a plan for meeting the educational needs of our children in Wilmington. And it took a lot of things to happen for us to get to this day. One, it took a change in the legislature. The same people who were there 15 years ago are no longer there. So you have more open-minded people, you have more people who are progressive, who want to see effective change. And also there's an acknowledgement that as we look at education, it impacts on our economic development, it impacts on the success of our state. So we have to do this. It's not something that's nice to do, it's something that's urgent to do. And I think we have the lives of our children at stake. And what we do in Wilmington will really permeate throughout the state of Delaware, because there's a word called weighted formula that everybody talks about. But it's funding things appropriately to meet the unique needs of the individual who needs to be educated. And so I think as we do the work related to Wilmington, it will permeate throughout the state of Delaware, and overall we will have a better state and a better education system. I'm just so proud to have been here long enough to see the progress we've made. And I want to really salute our governor for being so open-minded and willing to really bite the bullet and say what needed to be done. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I don't know where to begin, but let me begin by thanking everyone for playing a part in this. And this is the right thing to do. It's taken a long time, and most people would say too long. But I want to thank the governor personally. Thank you, Governor Markell, because him and I have an inside joke. We were kind of outsiders of some parties, but we won't go back that far. And we've both been very successful. But I want to thank all the General Assembly members. I think now we got people who have the will to get something done. You know, they know the difference between right and wrong. You know it's wrong when city kids or unprivileged kids are not getting the right facilities, not getting the right education, not having the right teachers. And I want to thank my education chair, Earl Jakes, for really believing in this process. I want to thank Tony Allen because he's done a great job. Now we got more work to do. The governor and the General Assembly understand that legislatively we got to work on this way to formula to get it right, because it takes money to pay the teachers, and we need to pay our teachers more money. But to get things right and to keep it moving in the city of Wilmington. And this legislation also touches throughout the state of Delaware. Public education is the foundation of education. I support charter schools too, but I'm a public education person. And when you get public education right, you get crime right, you get the jobs right, and we got a lot of work to get done. And I think together we're going to get it done. So I just want to thank everyone, and we're going to keep it moving. Thank you.
My march to this moment started 5 years ago. Last 20 minutes is a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but actually 5 years ago I started on this. As a member of the House Education Committee at that time, I read the 2008 Task Force report chaired by my good friend, Senator Margaret Rose Henry. It laid out some recommendations how to improve Wilmington education. I read that, I studied it, I understood that we had to do better for the children of Wilmington. So I gathered copies of that report and I started on a track. I went to my colleagues in the legislature talking about it. I went to community leaders. I went to those in education. But to be honest with you, about 3 years out, I started to get a little disillusioned whether we had the will to do it. And then I came across Councilman Jay Street, who's been fighting the battle for 40 years. And he gave me words of encouragement. And based on those words of encouragement, I went to Governor Markell and sat down and had a great discussion with him on education and the city of Wilmington. I learned 3 important things that day. One is the passion and the will to do what's right for our children throughout our state that Governor Markell has. He really gets it. Whether they have disabilities, whether they live in poverty, whether they are one of the hundreds of kids that leave school and have to live in their car. He understands the challenges for our children, and he wants to do what's right. The second thing I learned from him is that he will go through anything, any obstacle, to ensure that every child in our state receives a quality education. And it requires resources. Now I know that fight because I was elected the same year as Governor Markell. And I'm still waiting for those great words that we have a good budget year. I have yet to hear it. So it has been a true challenge to find the resources, but he has been willing to go everywhere, anywhere to find those resources so that we can improve education for every child in our state. The third thing I found from that meeting was he told me that he would think about Wilmington education, reread the report again, and see what he could do. Well, he didn't tell me the complete truth, because what he really did was form the Wilmington Education Advisory Council, led by 2 of the finest individuals I've ever had the opportunity to work with, Dr. Tony Allen and Dr. Dan Rich. They are an inspiration to all of us, the hard work they did, including all the members of the Advisory Council the hundreds of hours they put in, talking to the public, engaging the public on what we should do, and coming up with recommendations. I also want to take a moment to personally thank Speaker Schwarzkopf for giving me the honor and privilege to be the chair of the House Education Committee, so that in some small way I was able to move this legislation forward. I also want to tell you that this is a very small step today, unfortunately. Excited as I am about today, we still need to get the Wilmington Education Improvement Commission moving forward with the help of Superintendent Doherty's over here, Doherty, excuse me, and also all the members of the Wilmington Improvement Commission, and including my good friend and a member of the Education Committee, Representative Potts. I have complete confidence in them that they're going to come up with some great ideas how to fulfill all the little problems that are out there. Then the problem resolves in the governor and the General Assembly to find the resources to solve those issues. And when that happens, and only when that happens, will we take care of the children in Wilmington and move education forward. Thank you.
Morning. The good news here, the resources that are here today to celebrate the occasion of the bill signing, bring together a team that is bullish on public education, bullish on the city of Wilmington, and that believes that we can move forward. But there are naysayers, and they will attack the foundation that we are building here today. But nothing will stop the effort. We built this building. Any building has a foundation, and we're building that foundation. We've got the right team, the right players. We've got to move ahead. We need to look to the next governor, legislators, and others, the mayor, the city of Wilmington, the council for the effort. And we need to reach out to the parents. We need the vote tech. We need Vicki Garrett. You've got Steve Godowski, a former superintendent. We need to bring all the team together, bring those human resources and professionals that can make it work. And we need to reach the parents. We may need a school. We'll get J Street, the governor, Margaret, all of us, for those delinquent and inattentive parents. Because we need to reach out and do all we can to reach the parents so they give that child the value of an education and the opportunities in Wilmington, Delaware, and in America. Thank you. It's been a great day.
This is House Bill 148. This is amended by House Amendment number 1 and Senate Amendment number 1. And this actually creates the Wilmington Education Improvement Commission, which has a significant and incredibly important task in front of it, which is to sort of put together the plan to make this transition real. So it is now the law of Delaware.
Yeah.
And this is Senate Bill 122, which gives the State Board of Education the authority to redraw the district lines. Essentially, both of these will come back to the General Assembly for their, final approval. And that is also now law. And thank you all. And I think, as one of the speakers mentioned, this is great, but the very hard work starts now, and we're extraordinarily appreciative to all who are going to put so much effort into this. But our kids and I think in many ways the future of our city, our county, and our state is depending upon the outcome of this work. So thank you all very much.